Good evening, everyone. Today is Tuesday, September the 15th.
I'm Bruce Turner in Newport Richey, Florida.
I'm George Dosher in Jacksonville, Florida.
I'm Jeff Zayas in Napa, California.
And I'm Robert Taylor in New Orleans, Louisiana.
Hey, everyone. I'm Duke Carrico in Northeast Tennessee. Tonight we're going to discuss last week's Apple event. I'm going to ask the panel for their take on Apple's new stuff. Hey, NVIDIA's got another recall. And Google Now's got some new notifications. Hey, all of this, our apps, and more. Welcome, everyone, to episode 105. How we doing, panel?
Fun.
Doing okay.
On vacation, chilling.
Yeah, how's that vacation going, Bruce?
Vacation's going good, man. I'm just, I'm not looking at that email. I'm just letting the other managers cover for me. They're doing a great job. I'm just chilling, binge watching some Netflix. Ate some smoked chicken out of the smoker today. It was all right.
Well, you know, I watched a sunset with you there last night. Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, that was you broadcasted that on Periscope, and yeah, I watched that and enjoyed it very much.
Yeah, great. Enjoyed it too.
Actually, I had one eye on football and one eye on my tablet there, but yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that I had enough bandwidth to do that Periscope on my tablet, but it seemed to hold out pretty good.
All right, hey guys, let's talk about some tech stuff here, and I'm going to kick off. We have about 2 of these podcasts a year. I call them the Apple podcasts, and they're usually the podcast of where as soon as they're over with, I start getting comments and email on kicking Jeff Zayas off the show because he defends Apple. So, Jeff, I'm going to be calling on you a lot throughout this. First of all, let's talk about Apple's event, and a lot of things went down. First of all, let's talk about this big old iPad. This thing's almost 13 inches big. Also, it's going to have the what they're now calling 3D Touch. I was really relieved that, you know, early reports was that they were going to call this Force Touch. You know, it sounded something like Jethro Tull's Aqualung, you know, and Aqualung's out on the playground force touching some little girl, you know. Didn't think that had too good of a ring to it. But anyway, Jeff, I'm going to start with you on this. What did you think of that big old gigantic iPad Pro, man?
Well, you know, I think that, first of all, the cost is, way up there. That's number one. But, that's what they do. That's what Apple products are for. I think it's supposedly it's more for the high-end businesses. It's $99 for the stylus. That whatever the 3D Touch or the Force Touch, I think is a great innovation. I think that's it's cool. I mean, it's a good thing. Apple's innovating a little bit. I don't need a 12-inch tablet, so again, that's a little overkill for me. But they're really trying to focus, I believe, on the business aspects of it and business in general, and possibly some graphic design because of the Force. I want like 3D Touch, because with the pencil, with that additional stylus, they can, when they press down on it, it'll change the thickness of the line and the intensity and things like that, which is kind of cool. I think that'll be good.
My NVIDIA tablet's got the same technology as that. Just letting you know. Okay, the harder you push, the wider the.
Yeah, but does it have the different actions? Based on the level of 3D touching, it'll do a different kind of item.
Yeah, I certainly hope it doesn't, because it was free with my tablet. I didn't have to pay $99 extra for it.
Of course not. Why would you want to pay $99 extra for an stylus, right?
Yeah, I was going to make this point, but you've opened the door, and then I'm going to ask the other panelists. But typically to buy this iPad Pro, you're going to drop about $900. If you do choose to add the keyboard. And not the stylus, Jeff, but the Apple Pencil, okay? It's not called a stylus, it's called an Apple Pencil.
Of course, it's called an Apple Pencil.
If you choose to buy the iPad, add the Apple Pencil and a keyboard, you can buy a MacBook Air for cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just think about that, and you can actually set a MacBook Air in your lap. You can't set this thing in your lap.
No, but I don't understand. Again, they're targeting it for business. I don't know what kind of business. But we'll see what happens. They haven't. Have they really failed? Has Apple really failed? On a scale of 1 to 10, most of their products kind of sort of still make it out there, and they support it. So I'm not an Apple fanboy. Don't fire me yet. But I think the iPad, the whole tablet arena is kind of the market has tanked a little bit. I don't know if this Apple iPad is going to be the resurgence of the tablet.
Fair enough.
We'll see.
And they did drop the price on the Mini. They upgraded the Mini, but they dropped the price slightly. Robert, jump in here, man. Refute Jeff, please.
Refute me.
I
now.
I wish I could, but unfortunately, there's something called the law of large numbers. Okay, and when you have a following as big as what Apple does have, okay, and they come out with a product that maybe in other manufacturers' hands we would consider half-baked and not sell well, Apple's huge following will adopt it. You take a look at the watch. It's not going to set the world on fire. There's nothing revolutionary about it, really. It does less than some other devices out there, but yet it has sold many, 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 many. The large numbers is coming into play. So would you call it a failure? No, I wouldn't call it a failure. Is it a whopping runaway success? I wouldn't say that either. But you can't say that Apple's gotten any egg on their face anywhere along the line. And I do know that, Jeff, you talk about the tablet arena tanking some. I think it has slowed. I wouldn't say that it's tanked. But there are people who are developing apps specifically for the iPad, and they're very successful, and they continue to do it. Why do they continue to do it? Because people continue to use tablets, iPads in particular, and they're developing applications for it. My real estate agent, it is phenomenal, the apps that she has at her disposal right now to help people buy houses. So I don't think that the tablet market is going to go away anytime soon. It certainly isn't replacing laptops. I'd say that.
Fair enough. Hey, George, weigh in, man. What do you think about this big 13-inch behemoth of a tablet?
Actually, I see. The funny thing is, around here, if you go into coffee shops, you go other places, a lot of people using iPads as POS machines.
Yep.
I mean, including like Goodwill. I mean, I'm talking like even some places you wouldn't think would use iPads. I can see this because it's bigger. I can't see carrying this around, but I can see this being used as a POS machine, and it seems like I'm seeing this more often being used more as a retail machine than I am. I've seen more iPads literally cashing me out for coffee recently than I have in people's hands.
Yeah, but wouldn't you say that's more small business oriented?
Yeah, I mean, well, small to even big business. Like I said, I walked into Goodwill and they all had iPads too, so at their registers. So and they had a nice fancy looking thing with swipe your card, everything. It was just.
Hey,
Now,
Bruce.
if I saw NFC, that would have been cool too. But.
Bruce, you got anything you want to add?
Yeah, I go into the same, not the same stores, but the same type stores that George is talking about, and they're using their iPads and the Square app as point of sale. But they also have these. Square has designed these machines that the iPad, the current old iPad, fits in, and it swivels around. More than enough room to do a point of sale on that iPad. There's not a single business that's going to find a compelling reason to have to buy a new case and this big iPad to do what they can already do now with the current iPad. If you're a businessman, you want to keep your costs low. There's nothing wrong with the iPad, so I don't see it going there. But when you listen to Leo Laporte and some of these Mac guys, like on Mac Break Weekly today, and like over the weekend on the Tech Guy Radio Show and on Twit, they're all talking about this iPad as a production machine, and they're all talking about people actually doing video editing on this thing, and so forth and so on. So maybe for that. But listen, I just like Jeff said, or Robert said, or whoever said, you can buy an iPad Air for less money. And then when I was listening to Sarah Lane, who was co-hosting the Screensavers with Leo, and even she said, when you're sitting on the couch or when you're sitting in the bed, and you're wanting to watch a Netflix movie or something else like that. She said, now she's going to get one of those big ones, but you're not going to use it for that. I think, when you look at the iPad mini, I think they were smart to drop the price on the old one, up the processor power on the new one. This 7-inch tablet, this happens to be an LG G Pad 7, that's a really great size, especially I'm here on vacation. I'm binge watching some Star Trek Voyager, and I was introduced to a new show on USA Network called Mr. Robot. Wow, talk about a hacking show! And reading Kindle books on here. I just downloaded 5 new books since I've been here. So, but I can't imagine them using that 13-inch iPad as a production machine. But that's all they were talking about on Mac Break Weekly today.
Well, and the reason why it's being thought of as it's very similar to buying a Surface, because I think they're kind of trying to do what people are doing with the Surface. I mean, you're going to buy accessories, you're going to buy a keyboard and stuff with it. You're going to use it similar to a Surface if you're going to use it for video editing and everything else. I'm not seeing it as a hands-on user coffee shop machine. The thing's gigantic.
You know why I don't think. And I did see, by the way, I watched the keynote, and they talked a lot about that video editing. You know why I don't think that's true? Have you ever tried to get a video on an iPad? Okay, I mean, don't get me wrong. If you take a video with your iPad, it's not too hard. But if you've ever tried to put one on your iPad, it's not very easy.
I can't imagine
I think the cloud is starting to change that some, but to physically take a file and put on your iPads suck for stuff like that.
Could you imagine Final Cut Pro actually running on that thing?
Well, and listen, man, Adobe was there showing support for it, as was Microsoft. So don't get me wrong, I'm not calling this thing a failure at all, but I am saying for the price of it, you better have specific applications in mind. If not, you're going to be a whole lot better off just buying a MacBook Air.
Yeah, maybe some on-the-fly kind of production work, but serious production work, I don't see that happen.
I put in the chat, you saw me. I wanted to go out in the living room and grab my brother-in-law's Surface 3 that he's got. And of course, he's busy using it right now. They're trying to find a truck to pull a trailer, by the way, Jeff. Want to do maybe 5 or 6 months out of the year traveling and stuff like that. But I'll tell you, I've had a chance to play around with that. And, he's got the keyboard with it. I've been here for a few days, and I'll tell you what, it's not a bad machine. It's already updated to Windows 10, Yeah.
So. Beautiful hardware on that, too, by the way. Microsoft's done well. I'll still yet say it's not a laptop. You can't use it, with don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that it's not useful, but you just can't put it in your lap and use it good. So
what do you guys think about the 3D Touch technology? I think that's cool. I think that's a good innovation. I mean,
in a lot of ways, I think it goes against Apple's philosophy, of keeping things simple. But absolutely, I think those extra gestures that you're going to get, I think before it's over with, there's going to be close to 300 new gestures that that 3D Touch is going to allow. So, hey, listen, I think that's a good thing. I'm not knocking them for that at all. Hey guys, let's talk about the Apple TV. Apple TV, it's been a solid device, but they've never really updated it. and now they've updated it, and the way that I would describe this update, I'm sorry, Apple, is incremental. Don't get me wrong, they've added some pretty cool functionality to the remote. You got Siri in the remote now. You can it's going to have a gyro in it, so you can play some Nintendo-like games with it. I'm sure there'll be some lawsuits where somebody gets carried away, you know, and throws a remote and hits somebody in the head. And you know how the press loves stories like that, so we'll be hearing some of that. The UI itself, it looks slightly refreshed, but it doesn't look like a big stretch. Of course, you know they've upgraded the processor, but they've also upped the price to $150. Hey Robert, Apple TV versus Roku. What do you think, brother?
Not even close. Hands down Roku. Hands down Roku. Now, I would say you'd have a tougher comparison if we were going to look at the Fire TV, the Amazon Fire TV. But when it comes to something like the Roku, Apple TV doesn't even compare. It doesn't even compare. Now, Roku doesn't have any voice integration. Amazon Fire TV does.
Now, wait a minute. Roku 3 does have voice integration. I can voice search for an actor, a movie, or a TV series.
Yeah, the higher end one does. Yeah, okay. I should have clarified because you know we still have all three: the LT version, the middle version, and the Roku.
And I think it's worth mentioning that the top of the line Roku is under $100. This new Apple TV is $150.
99. The Roku 3 is 99. We're still waiting to see what they're going to do next because the Roku 3's been out for well over a year and a half, 2 years now. I mean, it's been here for a while. The last thing that Roku did was the stick. They came out with the stick, and that was kind of like the end of it. But again, when you're looking at what is available to you for consumption, again, this is a consumer consumption device. They did, you know, you've got Netflix, you've got Hulu, you've got iTunes, you've got all of that. But what Roku brings to the table is not only that, but all of the channels that are available there, and that is and it's customizable, which you cannot do with the Apple device. So you're going to pay about a third more, and you're not going to get as much available content to you as you would with a Roku device.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the interesting thing is all the apps that they're trying to put on it and opening it up to the developer network. That's where they'll hopefully shine a little bit, right?
And I think in gaming too, Jeff. I think that if you look at the iOS gaming and with this remote, that is something that they're really very quickly will have an edge on Roku.
Yeah, there are a couple of games on the Roku devices now, but certainly nothing to be jumping up and down for. And I would suspect that Apple, you know, they're talking about the Disney Infinity, the Guitar Hero, all of that other stuff. That is definitely going to hit the ground a lot faster than what Roku has. Roku's, like I said, been out for a year and a half, 2 years, and they really haven't done anything on the gaming side of things. I think that'll be considerably different for Apple. They'll definitely do more with the gaming side of things and app development side of things.
George, what kind of consumer buys an Apple TV?
What kind of what is in Apple TV? I'm sorry.
A consumer. Who's the typical guy who's going to buy Apple TV? Who's going to buy this new device?
I mean, not me, because I know some people that own Apple, but they've never really tried anything other than Apple TV. It just
So
seems
in other
like
words, if you're already into the iTunes and you're using it now for your music, movies, maybe it makes sense to buy an Apple TV. Otherwise, what's the motivation for someone like Jeff or Robert or Bruce to buy an Apple TV? Can you think of anything?
I can't think of anything. I mean, I'm sure Netflix is available. I'm also sure Amazon's available on it. But I mean, Roku, I think, has got you hands down as far as channel selection. I mean, nobody really kicks them.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're not an Apple user already, if you don't have an investment in it, iTunes specifically, you're not going to get a lot out of this. There's not going to be a big benefit to you.
But here's where the Apple TV or the Apple ecosystem or Apple Developer Network or just their infinite power, if anyone can offer a la carte, Apple would probably be the first one that could probably deliver that kind of service because networks,
really, hey, you're right. I mean, honestly, I figured at this announcement, when they were holding this, I thought, well, we're going to get a new Apple TV, and they're probably going to announce, and one more thing, we just bought Hollywood,
Yeah, a Sling TV equivalent type thing. Is that what you mean? And I agree with you. Jeff, shut up. I agree with you. Okay, just shut up.
But I'm thinking more like, you're going to get you start getting live, network coverage. Not just shows that you can play on demand, but live events, live network.
You can get that on Roku.
But I'm just saying that I think Apple would have a stronger draw for that whole industry to be a la carte.
Do you own, Jeff, just as an example, do you own anything like this?
No, I don't.
Fire or Roku?
I do have a Fire. I have the Amazon
the
Fire.
Fire's not bad, but I actually I put, because the Fire was so cheap, I bought it for $20 at one point. Dropped it on, used it. I forced myself to use it for a week. I mean, it just did not compare to a Roku. So, I mean, I can't see myself going out and spending.
But you can watch if you can on your Roku, can you watch local live broadcast?
I can using rabbit ears on my TV. So
yeah, I'm just saying, not rabbit ears. Forget about the rabbit ears.
No, but they do. I mean, there are apps that offer. There's one we were talking about the other day. I mean, it's paid, but you can watch network TV, we'll say, but not local network specifically. I don't know if do you see Apple actually offering that?
I'm saying if anyone could, Apple would be the player. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think they would though.
And they have not rumbled that they would. They have not indicated that they would, and that is a disappointment. But I agree with Jeff. Roku certainly couldn't. Amazon maybe would have had something of an opportunity, but they're not really doing that. If anybody really was going to walk to the table and say, we're going to put AMC or Lifetime or TBS or TNT and make it available a la carte, okay, Apple would be the company to do it. They haven't done it. They've not rumbled that they're going to do it. But if they did it, people would flock to the Apple TV because they're looking for a way to reliably cut the cord from the stranglehold that the cable companies have.
Hey, Bruce, how do you
do it?
Bruce, how do you watch most of your TV? Do you stream it or do you watch it live? I'm not talking about, how do you watch TV from your computer. When you sit down in front of your TV in the living room, what's your provider?
But if we're not watching Dish, which is we're kind of locked in here in the apartment complex I lived in, if I'm using a device, I'm using my Roku.
Okay. All right. Of course, I've got a Roku and Chromecast. I've got two Chromecasts, and guys, even though I do still have cable, I have a basic cable package. But that basic cable package gives me access to stream all kinds of channels live. And I'm telling you, when I want to watch live TV, that's how I do it. That and a Chromecast. Hey guys, what a combination. Okay. But just anything else, it's normally the Roku. I love my Roku.
Yep.
Hey guys, we're turning this into a cord cutter podcast. Let's move on. Let's talk about the iPhones, the new iPhone, the 6S, and guys, these things got a refresh. And I want to tell you, rather than go through the stats and so forth, etc., let's just talk about price, okay? As these carriers are moving away from the 2-year contracts, is it going to be pretty hard to sell these brand new shiny Apple devices when you got to pay for them totally up front?
I think it's a dilemma. The thing you got to look at is that the wallet thickness of the average Apple user, okay, gives them a little bit more disposable income. Okay, that's strictly my opinion. And I don't think that it's going to affect Apple as much as it's going to affect some of the other higher-end priced phones. Okay, without the subsidized phone contract, looking at a $700 purchase, $750 purchase price of a phone, that's got quite a sting to it. The way that carriers are getting around it is, it's only $25 a month. You know, that kind of has softened the blow a little bit. But anybody who sits down and does the math in their head, over the course of the 2-year period, you're still spending that $600 or $700.
Yeah.
You're not getting away from anything. You're still spending the money.
And you know, I think the consensus the last few months on this show has been that with our Android devices, that you don't necessarily have to have the newest and the shiniest to have a positive experience. That the advancements in phones have kind of slowed down some, both software and hardware. And I think the same could be said about Apple devices. Yeah, they've got this brand new shiny one that at the end of September you can order new, but chances are the iPhone that you've currently got is still a solid device. Isn't that generally a true statement?
Very much so.
And hasn't that been a true statement at every release of the new phone? You know, at the time that the iPhone 5 came out, was not the 4 and the 4S still reasonably good functioning phones?
Well, I think that is true. I think that Apple has been a little less incremental than a lot of the Android advancements. I know a lot of people probably getting mad at me right now, but I really believe in my heart that going back 2.5 years ago, there was a big jump in capabilities. You know, when Google was sending you a new update, a total new operating system about every 8-9 months, okay? And a lot of people were getting stuck. That was a lot of the frustration with Android owners is, you know, they'd go buy this brand new HTC device, and guess what? HTC wouldn't push out the next operating system. You know, and Apple has been good for that. I've got to give Apple their props there. Listen, I've got an iPad 2 sitting here in front of me, okay? The thing's still functioning great, and Apple pushes updates whenever there's a new operating system. Surprise! Hey, I've got a new one waiting on me. You know,
I tell you, you know, we've become many have become like a dog chasing the tail. You guys own dogs, you've seen that. But one of the things, going back to you're talking about this high price and what are people going to be willing to pay? You drop $700-800 down for a new device, especially if you get a 64 gigabyte one. One of the things that I've come to in my life right now is I'm at the place right now where I am totally comfortable not having the flagship phone. I don't care who makes it. I'm very, very happy with my Samsung Galaxy Alpha. It only has a 720p screen, but because it has a 720p screen, I get better battery life than somebody that's running a 1080p screen, or somebody who, God forbid, is going to fork over the cash to get a 4K screen on a phone. I mean, are you serious? You look at how you use your phone. You don't have to have a flagship phone. If I was going out and buying a new phone right now, I guarantee you I'd come a lot closer putting my money down on a new Moto X Pure than I would be looking at an iPhone 6S.
And Bruce, is that not true that a lot of people are taking that same stance, and that's why we're seeing more of the midline phones like the Moto E and the Moto X Pure? Sorry,
and the Moto G.
I stopped arguing.
Yeah.
But you know, there's a difference between, you know, having a phone that's a status symbol, right, and having a functioning phone.
And I will answer that too, because I just read just today, what is the #1 phone pre-ordered was the rose-colored phone, the pink one. Okay?
The rose gold.
There you go.
It is form, not function.
It is, and they are ahead of the curve on that. They have always been ahead of the curve on it.
Well, listen, it's fashion. Apple's
Totally.
pretty good. Listen, it's a fashion accessory, and you can't say that about anything that's running Android.
No.
Mm-mm.
Except when you get the new Samsung foldable phone.
Yeah, right.
Hey guys, all right, man. Like I said, this happens 2 or 3 times a year where we talk Apple products on Android Journal. We're through talking Apple. Let's move on and talk about some Android stuff, okay? Hey guys, NVIDIA. This one caught my eye simply because NVIDIA they're just coming out of a massive recall. They basically recalled every one of their Shield 8-inch tablets, okay? Basically a year's worth. And listen, they did a great job of standing behind it, but now this is a smaller recall, but now it sounds like that if you get the 500 gigabyte version of the Android Shield TV, there's a real good chance that the hard drive's going to fail in it. And I'll tell you what, Robert, talk to me here, man. What do you think about this? Is NVIDIA a failure at turning out Android products?
I don't know that I would say that they're a failure. They really get high regard for their Shield tablet and all that. I really do. I do think it's kind of a little bop in the nose to have 2 recalls so close, back to back, the battery, now the hard drive. That is a little bit on the spooky side. But I wouldn't say that they failed. I think this is just kind of a misfortunate accident of circumstance.
Well, I would look for those Woot emails coming out in the next couple months about, get this new Shield reconditioned for half the cost, because all those guys are being sold someplace.
Hey, seriously though, kudos to NVIDIA for standing behind their product like they do. Getting my tablet replaced. I mean, I filled out a form, and a couple of weeks later, a brand new device came in the mail to me. I activated it, and probably about a day and a half later, my original quit functioning. Okay, about 3 weeks after that, guess what came in the mail? A box to ship it back, complete with shipping label, instructions on how to pack it. Didn't cost me a penny.
Right.
And really wasn't that inconvenient for me. So that's one thing that I gotta say. At least on these recalls, they're standing behind what they're selling really, really well, and that means something to me personally.
Well, yeah, I mean, certainly that will go a long way to make up for the fact that they've had 2, back-to-back, recalls like this. The one thing that is kind of odd about this one, and they talk about it in the article, that it's not a blanket recall. You kind of have to experience the failure, and then they'll issue you a replacement. It's not like if you've got this serial number or this series, So that kind of tells me that they don't know which hard drives are more prone to failure than the other, or that there are multiple manufacturers or distribution points, and only one of them is prone to the failure. But again, they stepped up. They said, hey, if this happens, come here. We'll give you the replacement. And as in your case, Duke, you said it's just no questions asked, bing, bang, boom, it's all done.
Yeah. So, anyway, anybody got anything else they want to add to that? I just did think that it's worth mentioning that they're going through this again. All right, man. I'm going to move on. Our next article here. Jeff, you were talking about football before we went on air. You and I were talking about watching the games, and I was sitting in front of the TV Sunday. I'd come home from church. I'd eaten some lunch, and I was sitting there, and I just happened to pick up my phone, and there was a Titans score, Tennessee Titans game in progress, popped up on my Google Now.
Yep.
Have you experienced something similar with San Francisco?
I have, and Buffalo Bills, because I follow them as well. So yeah, it's showing up everywhere now.
Okay, what about you, Bruce? I know you're not necessarily a football fan, but have you started seeing?
Oh no! Listen, the Dolphins are playing the Redskins, and I had the same pop up. Comes up, lets me know about that score, and then the other thing I noticed is my Google Now told me that Joey Esquivel has arrived home. That's so comforting to know if you can see that right there, you know. So Joey,
welcome home, brother.
Joey has allowed you to see updates on his commute. Interested in updates on Joey's commute, and I could say yes. So I've got that. But here's the other funny thing about this Android notifications as they've changed. I go to the Muse Coffee House probably 3 times a week, but I work from home. Google Now thinks that I work at the Muse Coffee House because it says you're 6 minutes away from work, and I'm sitting at home in my home office, and it thinks that I work at the Muse. I think that's kind of funny.
But Bruce, what that means is you're spending a little too much time at the Muse Coffee House. I'm sure the Muse doesn't think so.
Well, I mean, I work while I'm there too, you know. So.
But you know that tells me notifications are going to start turning into ads.
Well, we've long said, you know, when it can tell by your location, knows where you are, what stores you're nearby,
Yep.
It's definitely going to be an advertisement opportunity. You know that's coming.
Is that a bad thing, though? I mean, George, get in on this conversation.
Well, it's funny. I was shopping the other day, and on my phone, it just knew where I was, and I pulled up the barcode for the store I was shopping in because it was right there. But I also get that on Google Wallet too. When I have Wallet activated, Wallet knows where I am. But Wallet wasn't even activated. It just knew I was, you know, sitting in a public store or a Winn-Dixie or wherever I was, and it just popped up, you know, and it just went right to the barcode for. You know, so it's pretty cool actually. I don't know. I don't really, you know. I guess on occasion I'll get an Arsenal or Manchester United score pop up, but you know that's.
Well, but I think the point that I'm trying to get at is, you know, Amazon. If you search for something on Amazon, or what kills me, I bought something on Amazon.
Oh yeah.
And then I go somewhere else, and there's an ad for what I bought on Amazon, you know, a week prior. To me, that's not very effective advertising. But if Google can recognize, first of all, if Google knows that I like Yuengling beer, okay, and Google knows that I'm close to Food City, and Food City's got Yuengling beer on sale, and they sent an ad to me telling me that, to me, that's advertising that I want.
Yeah. Well, look at here's my screen. It shows, shows me my Giants scores and the 49ers score, article about a fan getting beat up at the Levi Stadium, you know, and they made it look so much more pleasing now too, you know, on the cards and everything. So I'm really liking what they're doing. I mean, I think it's looking really nice. So.
All right, good deal. Anything else anybody wants to add about the new Google Now cards? It sounds like we're all getting to experience new features within Google Now.
Yeah, and I'm starting, you know, they rolled out this thing where now developers can write it into their app to give you Google Now cards. I'm beginning to slowly see Google Now cards that are related to an application. So I think developers are still working on that, but I think that's going to be interesting as well.
I agree. Hey guys, Qualcomm has they've been teasing us a little bit with their 820. Of course, we know that the 810 was pretty much a disaster with a lot of heating problems. But this thing, it sounds pretty cool, man. And first of all, LTE speeds, it's going to have LTE Category 12 download speeds of up to 600 megabits per second. Now, I say up to, we probably won't see those speeds for a long time, depending on where we're at. I don't think in Northeast Tennessee, if I buy a device with this chipset, I'm going to experience that because a lot of rural places around here are still running 3G. All right, but this sounds like a whole lot of processor, and let's get some thoughts on this, man. Is this an instrumental upgrade versus the 800, the 808, and the 810 processor? Who have I got here on this? Talk to me, Robert.
You're muted.
You're muted, Robert.
Sorry, I was trying not to make any noise, and I sat there and just jumped right in, because one of the things that interested me when I was going through the article and the specs was not only the cellular, but what it was going to do with Wi-Fi improvements. And they talk about going to 802.11 AC, okay, and having 2x2 MIMO antennas to give it a really good, strong Wi-Fi signal, because that is one of the things that I struggle with. I have a great Wi-Fi in my home, but I still occasionally struggle with my phone. My tablet, not so much since I've gotten the newer update, but with my phone, I really do have some trouble sometimes keeping that Wi-Fi signal connected. Even though my Wi-Fi signal is great in the house, I still have some difficulty. You have to reboot the phone, go through it. So I'm interested to see what this chip will do on the Wi-Fi side of things. And they talk about why this is important with voice calls that switch between cellular calling and Wi-Fi calling. I think that's kind of one of the drawbacks that we have right now, is that we don't have strong Wi-Fi capabilities in our devices right now, so that kind of prevents Wi-Fi calling from really taking hold. There's very few. I think T-Mobile is the only one who actually offers Wi-Fi calling.
And switching between them. If you look at like what I'm talking about, data.
Right.
If I'm in a Hangout call with you, Robert, and I'm using data, but then
walk into a network.
When I pull into my Wi-Fi network, guess what happens? The call drops.
Yep. So that's, I'm kind of interested to see what this chip is going to offer on that front. And we're assuming that we've gotten past the issues that plague the A10. So it would be nice.
Up into the 810, Qualcomm was a real leader in the chipset for mobile devices. So it sounds like this 820 is going to be a real house. It's of course, they
You never know what the battery life will be. Hopefully, it's better, right?
Yeah, and they're advertising better battery life. So anyway, hey, listen, I found that interesting, and
but do you think that Google is kind of driving this a little bit, and T-Mobile is driving this, the ability of Wi-Fi calling and having dual bands, switching on and off as a way to doing that, and this is just meeting that newfound demand that they think is going to be out there?
I don't think that Google and T-Mobile are necessarily driving it. I just think that many in the industry recognize the need for it, and Qualcomm has worked to design these features into their chipset.
Yeah.
So you think it's future forward kind of thing, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. All right. Hey guys, Google here a while back, they introduced to developers what they called their Chrome Push API, and let's stress here, we're talking mobile Chrome, and not necessarily Chrome on your desktop, okay? But basically, they gave developers an API that is going to enable developers to push notifications through the mobile web browser to your device. Facebook has now brought that feature to the mobile web, and all you got to do is go to facebook.com from your mobile device, m.facebook.com. It'll ask you if you want to enable the push notifications, and saw this today, tried it, and it works pretty good. It works probably more efficiently than the Facebook app does. I guess the question that I have, Bruce, I'm going to throw this to you. Is this the future now, or now that Google can do this push stuff, are we gonna start consciously choosing the mobile web browser over the app?
We are. If Facebook can't come up with a better app that doesn't use as much battery life and plug up my machine, I'm convinced. I got you get a new Facebook update every once in a while, and I'm pretty confident that the app that's using the most battery life on my phone, the one that's most likely to cause me to have to restart it to get it working smoothly again, is the Facebook app. So, but here's the thing with notifications, and some of us have been playing around with Blab. By the way, it was interesting, a really intriguing Blab last night with Robert Scoble, the Scobleizer on there. It was so intriguing. Normally I go to bed around 10 o'clock. I didn't go to bed till around 11:30. Just listening to this blab and hearing them talking about 5G chips from Broadcom, so forget about what speed you might get on that new Snapdragon 820. Probably 18 months from now, they're going to be talking about 5G. But, I get so many notifications now from just blab. I'm getting just overwhelmed with notifications. So I think I like it, to be able to have it within the browser. To get those notifications of the browser, to go to the mobile site for Facebook instead of running that app. I think that's good, but man, I'm just getting overwhelmed with notifications. I'm trying to figure out, okay, what's really important to get notified about. So
yeah, listen. I agree with everything you said. Jeff, jump in here, man. What do you think about what Bruce said? Notification overload.
Oh, I don't do Facebook on my mobile app, nor do I want to. On my mobile phone, I should say. So, and I don't like when I get a lot of Google Hangout, notifications on my mobile phone either. So I like my phone to be clean. I don't mind my desktop, if I fire it up and look at it, that's great. But I don't want all that. It's just way too much, and you have to downscale. And the phone is not, for me. The phone is not designed to always be in constant contact and constant information and all that. I just want to, I want to look at it as a more of a pull device than a push device, unless there was an Amber Alert or something like that. But I want to know by pulling the information, not getting it pushed to me constantly, because I just want to know what the weather's like in Middletown right now. Is the fire going ravishing? Do I want to get every notification about it? No. When I want to see it and I want to know about it, I want to be able to access it, and I prefer it in a pull version versus a push version.
I think that's a fair assessment. Bruce, I'm just going to tell you that. A lot of my Facebook notifications, I've started scaling back who notifies me.
Oh yeah, and if I comment on something, right after I comment on it or like it, I immediately go up there and turn off notifications, because I don't want to get a notification every time somebody else likes it.
Yeah.
Exactly, right? Yeah.
All right. Hey guys, let's talk about this NextBit Robin. This is a new smartphone. It's got a new design. It's got cloud integration. This looks, listen, I really like the looks of this phone. And let me share my desktop so that YouTube viewers can know what I'm talking about here. You're going to get 100 gigs of storage with this phone. It's the phone, I'd say it's met its goal by now. I really wanted to look at this, but before we went live tonight, listen.
It's got like 5 gigs of RAM, something like that. It's weird.
Yeah,
it's out there. And
IPS display. It's got full HD resolution, dual stereo speakers, got dual amps for those stereo speakers. So this thing ought to be a if you're a music lover, you might want to look at this phone. Listen, they're headed to Australia. They say they've got a plan in place to bring this to Sprint and Verizon. We've seen a lot of these phones. We've talked about a lot of these phones. The OnePlus line. What about this Kickstarter, man? Hey, George, weigh in here, brother.
It's actually a pretty decent thing. I was looking at the Kickstarter a couple of weeks back. Well, probably about 2 weeks ago. I was looking at this. It looks like a pretty interesting idea. I mean, the idea basically behind the phone is, like you run out of room so fast on your phone because, as we're talking with Facebook or anything else, you throw apps on there, and then what this phone is smart enough to know that which ones you don't use so much, so it tosses them in your cloud drive. So the things you don't use all the time, it just realizes, well, man, Jeff's not using Facebook all the time. I'm just going to shove that in the cloud. When he needs it, we'll pull it back down again. I mean, that's pretty innovative, actually. If you ask me, it's kind of cool. But it does have a crap ton of local storage too. So it's I'm not really, because you got, what is it, 16 and 32. So it's comparable with other phones. I've actually done kind of what Bruce has done. I've just scaled back. I mean, I don't have Facebook on my phone. It's just stupid to have it on your phone. I only started using Facebook a couple months back. Again, I kind of ditched my account for the longest time, and because of events in my life, I kind of went back to using it. But the notifications are evil. I put on my old Nexus, I put Facebook on here just as a quick notification thing, and I swear if you leave this for a day, you come back, there's 75 notifications sitting here from Faceplace alone. So, I mean, I'm thinking about removing it off there. I've completely removed Messenger and stuff. So this phone automatically does that for you, though. This phone comes out and goes, oh, this guy isn't using it. He's not accessing Messenger every time somebody messages him. So eventually it's going to figure you're not doing that and move it up. And I'm guessing you can scale the time for which it starts. Doesn't uninstall. Well, I guess it does do a sort of uninstall, but it moves the app and all its storage that you're using for that up to the cloud to give you more room on the phone.
Sounds like basically it's going to leave just a shortcut on your phone, and basically that shortcut will be grayed out somewhat to let you know that this app is not residing.
It's going away. Yeah, it's going to go away.
I would be more inclined to look at the phone if they didn't offer their own cloud service. If they put it on Verizon cloud service or whoever the carrier is, because if they go out of business or they can't meet the scaling, you kind of.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they're giving you the cloud service. I'm not sure after a certain point are they going to charge you for that 100 gigs. I'd rather use the 100 gigs I pay for on Google or something to that effect.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I would trust another service besides a startup Kickstarter program, than for that cloud storage. That's what I'm trying to get to.
It's a very nice phone. I kind of like the mint one, but I would prefer the black one, probably like most people, because they have the two models. But the mint one doesn't look too bad. It's just kind of, I don't know, kind of like looks like a Japanese anime phone or something. I don't know if I'd be using it that much if I had the green one.
And
you're gonna get a case anyway, find a case.
And just for the sake of clarity, I did look at the Kickstarter. They are just shy of $1 million. They're fully done. They were looking for 500,000. They're almost at $1 million right now. So it's going to happen. There's 15 days left in the Kickstarter program. But I'm with you, Jeff. If they were integrated with, Google Drive, Dropbox, Verizon, or somebody, a more external cloud service, I'd definitely be more enthused about this project.
I think it's something fun to watch. By the way, for anybody that doesn't know, you're looking at a retail price for these phones, $400 to $350, depending on your which model you go with. And hey, get on over to Kickstarter and look for this, man. This next bit, Robin, get in on the fun, cause this looks interesting. All right, man. Anybody got anything else?
I'm good.
Gang, who are we? We are Tech and Coffee. And our favorite social network is Google Plus. You can search on us over there. Search Tech and Coffee. Look for the T and C logo. Hey, you can catch us on Twitter and Facebook at Tech and Coffee 1. Our YouTube channel is Tech and Coffee. Hey, catch this podcast on Stitcher Radio, iTunes, and Player FM. Hey, you can tweet us or talk to us on Google Plus. Use the hashtag and coffee. Questions, comments, snide remarks, AJ at techandcoffee.info. All right, gang. What kind of apps have you brought to the table this week?
Well, I will say that I have configured Apple Pay on my Samsung Galaxy Alpha, and I have used it a couple times on this trip at drugstores to get some, stuff that I needed. So, I have Google Wallet. I've got the Google Wallet card. I've used that before, but I actually configured Apple Pay to work with my Bank of America debit card, and it works really well. So, as you know, they released that. You do have to have a secure lock screen in order to use the app. So if you just were using Swipe to unlock, you can't use it. The Apple Pay app, you have to have a PIN number, or my phone's got a fingerprint reader on it that I use, and it works really well. So give it a try.
Very good, very good. George, what do you got, my friend?
I've actually got nothing this week. I was thinking about reintroducing the raw image thing, but I don't know. You got to be really into photography.
All right, Jeff, what do you got?
Okay, I got something called Usikin. You're like musician, excuse me. Here it is right here. Let me get rid of this. And basically, it is it's kind of like Guitar Hero for the Android tablet or Android device. And you can download songs, and it puts it in tab. And then as you play it on the guitar, it will show you where you are on the tab on the guitar and do it. So let's see if I can do this here. Pull it up, and it's just like Guitar Hero. So it's going to tell you when you want to play whatever part, So it's just you just follow the guitar, which you can't really see here. Hold on. Let's see if I can change this up a little bit. Nope, you're not doing it. I don't know what's going on. It's sharing the screen on that one. But it's basically Guitar Hero for your guitar, and it's tuned to your guitar, and as you play it, it goes through the different tabs. So if you want to kind of practice different songs with the tabs, it'll do it. And it does the full song and the melody and whatever. It's called Musician, and it's kind of cool. It has a little tuner in it. I kind of like it. I haven't really been playing it.
That does look cool, and I imagine that as tight as you are, it's free.
Of course it's free. But there are upgrades, like anything else. But it's very similar to Guitar Hero, and it has exercises for your reading the tabs as it's playing at what different speeds. So it's kind of cool for that. So if you don't know tab and what that's about, Usikin, or Musician, I should call it, Musician. We have it in the show notes. Download it. It's free. You can play around with it. Once you tune your guitar to your tablet, through your tablet, it plays perfectly.
I'm guessing, well, let me ask you, instead of me guessing, is this for a beginner and intermediate?
They have different levels. So, yeah, I would say beginner first, yes. But you can progress, and they'll have all these different songs that you can load down and, just practice with it. So.
Very good. Robert, what do you got, my friend?
Well, unfortunately, I was going to demo an app today, but if you can see, my tablet is stuck in a reboot mode. It stays this way for about 15 seconds, comes up and tells me it's got an update to install, and then goes me an error screen. So I can't demo my Trivia crack.
Okay.
I will do it next week as soon as I can get my tablet reflashed. Apparently, I'm going to need to reload Lollipoop for the third time.
Hey, on the bright side, in a few weeks, Marshmallow should be out.
Yeah, right.
Hey guys, I'll tell you what I'm going to talk about is something that I really hadn't got to try good yet. But when I saw it, I was pretty excited about it, and I think I saw it here a while back, but I wasn't interested. You know, listen, there's a million messaging apps out there, and it doesn't matter what platform you're running on. But ICQ is one of the first that I experienced, and I made friends literally all over the world. Some of them I'm still in contact with 20 years later, no joke. And this thing, it's got video calls. You can do group chats with group messaging. You can record pictures, or I'm sorry, video. You can take pictures. It's got stickers, and if you're like me and you've got a little sentimental spot in your heart for something like ICQ, try the mobile app. I've got a very low number. I was early on to ICQ, and I'm gonna hit up these Tech and Coffee Android Journal guys to download this app and try it with me. I think this is gonna be a pretty cool little messaging app. This thing's rated just a little better than 4 stars. It's been downloaded about 380,000 times, and looks like a very, very promising messenger app. So, yeah, it's got it does voice calls, by the way, over data, and you know, like we need another one of those that does that. I mean, you know, as if, you know, Skype or Viber or, you know, that doesn't work for you. Google Hangouts doesn't work for you. Hey, ICQ. I was using ICQ back in the mid-90s, and, of course, I was using it on a desktop computer and loved the app, man. I mean, I couldn't be on the computer without an ICQ open. And I was very excited to see this very well put together Android app. So that's my app for this week, gang.
Is it interoperable? Does it run on Apple as well, iOS?
I do not know if there's an iOS app or not. I don't know. I'll have to check that on my.
Because it now, and I'm trying to remember my ICQ number.
Because you know, I've been using Appear.in for kind of to go between my wife's iPhone and my Android app, and that works pretty well. Once you know, take that room and own it, it's great.
Yeah, I really would say that Hangouts works a lot better for my wife and I now that we're both using Android.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a little awkward when she was running an iPhone. Absolutely. All right, guys, listen, I think we've covered it for this week. Anybody got anything else they want to add? If not, I'm going to tell you about a deal alert. Head on over to htc.com and check out the very super low prices on Nexus 9 tablets, guys. I'm telling you, if you were thinking about getting one, now is the time. You're not going to believe the prices. Hey, guys, y'all have a great week. We'll catch you in 7:105. See you guys.